Romans chapter 2, starting in verse 6, and I will do until verse 11. Paul here is trying to get people to understand that salvation comes by following the Spirit, and the Spirit leads to patience, kindness, bearing one another, endurance, pleasing, wanting to do good. That was the purpose that God had set forth. Remember, in the beginning, man had fallen to the serpent and to his ways, to be cunning and destructive, to want to kill, steal, and destroy. And so man put in his heart to kill, steal, and destroy. But God never had a purpose for man to accept that in his heart. Paul is going to get at that, and he's really laying the rubber down on the road. He's not holding back. He is laying the truth out. In verse 6, he says, "Who will render?" Who is he speaking of? He is speaking of God. "Who will render to every man according to his deed." We went over the judgment of God, and in Matthew 16:27, "For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his work." Now that's Christ. This is not whether you're under the old law or under the new law, or this is this is judgment of the condition of the heart. Verse 7, and I've split this up. Now, let's look at 7 so that we can understand 7. "To them whom by patience, continuance." That word continuance means endurance. Patient endurance. What are they patient endurance with? Well doing. That's doing good. How can they maintain that? We talked about how our focus is supposed to be what is coming. And these are seeking glory. Are they seeking the glory of their self? No, God's. The glory of the city and the honor and the immortality. What is their goals and treasures in their heart? Eternal life. So Paul is pointing this out. "But unto them that are contentious," be like a goat, "resistance." Resistance is futile. Acting up, can't behave, always got to do the wrong stuff. They won't believe. They won't obey the truth, as you'll see, and do not obey the truth. They obey righteousness. They can't stand it. They can't stand to do what is right. To them, it hurts them. It's like if someone took advantage of them, you'd think they're going to die. That's what I call brats. Indignation and wrath. That's what they're going to be given over to, because they would never live by what Christ has spoken for us to live by. And they're going to have tribulation and anguish. And that is upon every soul of man that doeth evil. Well, darkness. We went over darkness. Those that live in the light live by the light. And those that live in darkness live in the darkness. And the darkness brings wrath and tribulation and anguish. That's what it brings. Look at 9. Paul is saying this is first going to come to the Jews, and then it's going to also come to the Gentiles. He's spoken twofold. 70 AD happened. It was after Christ. It was 40 years after, more than 40 years after Christ and the cross. And Paul is saying this is going to come upon the Gentiles too. It's not just the Jews. There is going to be a judgment of the Gentiles. Now, there's two types of judgment. They are the judgment of the blessed, and they are the judgment for the condemned. The blessed ones are the ones who received and enjoyed the heart of God. They didn't do it themselves. God said, "I will take your stony heart out, and I will put a flesh heart in, a loving heart, so that no one can complain. No one can say, I done this. God did that. It is your place to preserve that, to endure, just as verse 7 has said, will you let someone reign on your day? Will you let someone take that away? That's what verse 8 is talking about. They couldn't endure. Verse 10, but glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first. Who were the first to receive the reward? Jews. So you have two judgments. And also to the Gentiles. When will the Gentiles receive that? And it says in verse 11, for there is no respect of person with God. So Paul is pointing out what the Jews went through, the Gentiles are going to go through the same thing. How God made the Jew obedient, the Gentile is also going to be obedient. There's no respect or person with God. He expected them to endure, and he expects us to endure. Just wanted to bring that forth.